So I'm really excited for hockey season to start. I'm going to watch a lot more hockey. It's going to be great.
Hey, that's great.
I'm pretty stoked.
And you snaked me so many times in that draft, too. I'd just be sitting there like, all right, this guy made it this far. I think we're good. And then Zach, right before me, picks him.
That's actually the
like
only
three
thing
times.
the only possible thing I want to do. 3 times. I knew it was it Trouba?
Trouba was the most annoying one, I think.
That guy, and then another defenseman from the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, because you took Trouba and then you took the other defenseman I was going to take on your next pick. Because you were like either right after me or right before me, depending on whether we were going up or down. So I think I picked someone and then you took Trouba, and then with your next pick, which was right before me, took the other defenseman that I was going to take after you took Trouba.
Oh, it's so awesome. That's like the one thing I want to do when I'm in a draft is just take the stuff the person next to me wanted to get.
Yeah, that was fun.
I'm so excited. Thank you for inviting me to your fantasy hockey league.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So I think you have a really good team. So
thanks. I just want to be not the worst. And dunk
that's
on,
always the goal. Right?
I want to dunk on whoever has been in the league forever and knows a lot of stuff and is doing terribly. That just sounds so great.
Yeah, it's always the most fun to make fun of that guy.
Yeah, because
I won 4 years in a row. It's like, that's old news, man. You're in last place.
You suck. I've had
you're so bad.
People come in my fantasy football league who've never played before, don't watch football, and just win. And then they just dunk on everybody else. So I really hope that I can be that person for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. I was hoping to be that guy in your fantasy football league, but I did not.
Well, you won the survivor pool.
Yeah, that I did win.
Hello and welcome to the Arena Regulars podcast, episode 13. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are regulars on Magic the Gathering Arena, our favorite bar / gaming platform.
Yeah, exactly. They serve the best beer, have the best game.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
It's like all the beer I like is just there. It's always great.
Sometimes beer I don't like, but I'm happy to try it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, big stuff going on in the Magic world this week. Kaldheim spoilers have just dropped. So we're going to talk about a few of those and what we can expect from the new set. And the first league weekend for Kaldheim is coming up this weekend. And so we are doing a fantasy draft like we like to do. So
I need to regain my honor.
Yeah, or just get, pushed down farther. And you just have, beginner's luck. Yeah, but each week we both bring a beer, we drink our own, then drink each other's, then rate them on a scale of bronze to mythic, and choose the best for last. So with that, Jeff, what's on tap?
Well, in honor of Kaldheim, anyone who's been following the Kaldheim announcements knows that all of the marketing is like around heavy metal. They got all these bands to do preview cards, and everything's kind of got that heavy metal style. So the beer I brought today is called Metalhead, because this will be our first look at Kaldheim. It's a double IPA from Nickelbrook, 9%, and the can is like a person with headphones on, and it's kind of drawn in like a metal poster style, if you know what I mean.
It's pretty sick.
What did you bring?
I brought, in honor of our hockey fantasy draft, I brought a beer from McKinnon Brothers Brewing Company in honor of Nathan McKinnon from the Colorado Avalanche.
The guy who's going to kick your ass.
Yeah, I'm playing against him this week in my first week, so that's kind of a bummer. But whatever. This is their 8-man. It's an English pale ale. It's 5.8%, and it has just a picture of this like old-timey guy who's wearing a polo, and he's holding like a rugby ball, whatever those are called. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is just a rugby ball, no?
Yeah, but he's just very dapper, a dapper athlete. That's back when they used to just like drink beer on the sidelines and just like
exactly, yeah,
dick around, basically. Sweet. So yes, like we were saying before, Magic News Kaldheim spoilers are officially upon us. We had a little bit in December with the Week of Metal, but now we're really here, and we don't have to worry about leaks anymore, which is great. There are a lot of those. But now we get to just officially look at all the cards. And there's also this great video. I don't know, did you watch the official like announcing video they did?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty, it's really cheesy. And
no question.
Fairly hokey. But I thought it was worth watching. Some of the other videos that they have shown in the past that are kind of just like people sitting on a couch discussing things is like very dull. So you can tell they put a lot of work in this. There's some, easy jokes, but
I like it. People gave it a lot of flack, social media and stuff, and in the Twitch chat while it was premiering. But I think people have to remember that they're trying to market this to all ages.
Exactly.
So this is like a metal-themed broadcast with a heavy metal band that has to appeal to children.
So,
and I thought they actually towed that line fairly well.
I think they did a pretty good job. And the host was Jimmy Wong of the Command Zone, who's great with all that kind of stuff.
He fully committed too. He was doing the air guitar. I was like, nice, Jimmy.
Yeah, so it's it's just nice. I think they did a pretty good job, and they had some like little bloopers and stuff at the end. And so I wish I want them to make more like this. I think it's a good way to release it. Very family friendly, but still, it wasn't like really cringy the way that a lot of people were saying it was. I think
my one complaint was that some of the preview cards they showed were not on screen for long enough. I would have to like pause the Twitch stream to read the card.
That was my problem. They would go by fairly quickly. I knew I'd be able to see them later.
Right.
But they definitely pushed that really, really quickly. So that was the only bad thing, basically.
Yeah.
They did say that Arena for mobile is going to be in beta for Android phones starting January 28th. So awesome. That's so much faster than we thought. But iPhone users like me have to wait.
Don't worry, in a few years you'll have the iPhone.
It's going to be forever. I just feel like I waited through all this stuff and I finally got Arena, and now they're just going to give me another thing that I can't use for a while. It's so ugh.
It should be mentioned though, it's not all Android phones. It's like it's only like 20 different phone models.
Right.
So even Android users, most of them can't use it. I'm unclear on whether or not I can use it because I looked up the phone's specs. I have the Samsung Galaxy S20, and they listed the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, which is not my phone, but they also listed the Samsung Galaxy S10. So I was a little confused about why the newer model of the phone wouldn't work unless you went to the high-end version. It's a brand new state-of-the-art phone. It's just not the Ultra version. So I was I'll be a bit surprised if I can't run it, but
ultimately
it seems like I can't because it's not one of the listed phones.
Yeah. Strange. I mean, the only reason I want mobile is just so I can check the quests in the store every day without having to go on my computer. That's essentially.
Honestly, I would never use it unless I'm like visiting family.
Yeah.
And I don't have my desktop.
It would just be nice because like I have to do a whole thing to get mine going. If I could just flip on my phone and be like, oh, there's something actually good in the store that I want to get, then I'll be like, it's worth going and getting or whatever. But yeah, I mean, how was your week in Arena? It was fairly.
It was okay, fairly uneventful. I found this like Boros tokens deck from a Star City Games event, and so I've been playing with that a lot. It's actually really fun, and this player's been doing really well in these Star City Games events with Boros tokens. And the idea of the deck is you, what's the new polymorph? The red.
Transmogrify.
Yeah, you transmogrify. You have all these token makers. You transmogrify into Harmonious Archon is your only creature, which is a 4/5 flyer that makes 2 1/1s when it comes into play. But then it says all non-Archon creatures are 3/3s. So you basically turn everything into 3/3s. So it's kind of like a +2/+2 to your whole board. And presumably it weakens your opponent's board. It turns Lovestruck Beast into 3/3. Actually, Lovestruck Beast can never attack because there are no 1/1s possible. So it's really fun, and I had some medium success with it. So that's what I did this past week.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, I didn't do a ton. I was just kind of playing like rogues and standard a bit, and just trying to grind my quests out and get some gold
and the quests
and work. There were a couple times there were some events that I didn't play in because I was trying to save my gold because I want to make sure I'm hoping to have for Kaldheim. So right now I'm getting close to like 3 drafts, so that feels pretty good. I don't think I've had that much gold before. I always just blow it whenever I can.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty close to 2 drafts, and I have a draft token because I bought the Mastery Pass. So.
Oh, see, I'm gonna do that, and they also were selling a cheaper one on Christmas Eve, I think, which I bought. I bought a bunch of stuff on there on Christmas Eve. So.
Wait, you bought the Kaldheim Mastery Pass already?
No. There's a draft token that was cheaper.
Oh, a draft token. Oh, I would have bought that if I'd realized.
Yeah, so I should have told you. Yeah, it was like I think it was like 1,300 gems instead. So it was extremely cheap,
because I'm definitely going to spend 1,500 gems on a draft at some point. I may as well. I would buy that if I saw it.
But yeah, anyway, let's get into some Kaldheim spoilers. I feel like we should just kind of start talking about this new set that's been everywhere if you're on the internet.
What new set? What are you talking about?
The Viking one? Come on.
You know, Zach, back in my day, a new set of Magic just came out and you had to go to the pre-release. And that's where you opened new cards and were like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. See, in my day, you didn't even know a pre-release was a thing, and you just go into the store and there's a new box and you're like, whoa, what's that? And they're like, this has been out for 3 weeks. And you're like, oh, cool.
I don't know if that's a reflection of your day so much as just you.
Yeah, it's probably just me.
I wasn't sure there were people going to pre-releases for those sets.
There definitely were, yeah. Aside from how I feel about spoiler season, I don't want to get too much into that. It is nice to see some more cards, and we do have a couple new mechanics we want to talk about. We already said that it's like a Viking, a Norse mythology themed set. But we do have 2 new mechanics that we wanted to talk about. But Jeff, do you want to talk about Foretell?
Sure. So Foretell is a mechanic where at any point you can pay 2 colorless mana. During your turn, you can pay 2 colorless mana and exile a card face down. And then you can play that card later for its Foretell cost. So the example is Saw It Coming. This is 1 blue, counter target spell, and then it has Foretell 1 and a blue. So it's a cancel. This is the classic cancel with the set mechanic stapled to it. But you can also pay 2 mana earlier so that you can play it later. A couple of weird things about Foretell. It's during your turn that you cast it face down. Mm-hmm. So as far as I could tell, you can do that at any time. You can foretell at instant speed. Mm-hmm. It just has to be during your turn.
Yeah, that's it. You can do it at end step. You can do it on your upkeep. You can do it whenever.
Right. And then it says cast it on a later turn for its foretell cost. So I can't foretell it and cast it for foretell cost on the same turn. Other than that, really interesting mechanic, actually. I think it's going to play pretty well.
I think it'll play pretty well, especially if you are making a deck and on turn 2 you want to foretell something that might change the way that you're building things or drafting things. A lot of people are kind of talking about this as morph, which it kind of is.
Spell morph.
It's a little bit like a spell morph because, morphs all cost like 3 generic mana to put it face down on the battlefield, and it flips up whenever you decide for its cost and all that kind of stuff. So I get that. But because it's out, it feels like a morph between morph and suspend to me.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and it actually doesn't really... I don't think it's going to play out like either one.
Yeah.
The big thing about morph was I had to be really careful what I was attacking into.
Exactly.
So it rewards me for knowing the morph cards. But the other thing about this one is that, your opponent foretelling something doesn't give you all that much information, I guess. It's just like, hey, I had a card in my hand that has foretell.
Totally.
Because it just goes face down. It could still be a creature. It could be an instant. It could be a sorcery.
Yeah.
Right.
We will
foretell cards of any kind.
It will be interesting when we get further into the set and we see which ones are constructed playable. Because then when they foretell, it might just be like, that's the one. That's the card that everyone uses. So we will, we'll kind of see how that goes. But I think overall it seems pretty interesting. I like the design space, and some of the cards have been pretty fun so far. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it lends itself really well to control, because control usually doesn't have much to do on turn 2. Like, let's say you're on the play and your opponent doesn't play a 1-drop. Well, just foretell something now.
Yeah. So, there you go. The next mechanic we're going to talk about that's new for the set is called Boast.
All right, Boast is an activated ability that you can activate only if... So it's on a creature, and you can only activate the ability if the creature attacked this turn. and you can only activate it once. So you can't just attack and then activate it 4 times.
And then just
right?
boast the rest of the turn.
Right.
Boast.
Exactly.
Boast.
You just boast once.
You just boast once.
Even if you get multiple combat steps, it's worth noting.
Oh, that is worth noting. Interesting. So we decided we were going to show Vargoth Bloodsky Sire. It's 2 and a black for a 2/3 legendary creature demon rogue with Death Touch. It has boast 1 and a black. Target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it. So it's like a vampiric tutor, not a creature.
It's a 2-mana vampiric tutor
Yes.
that you have to attack with, and you have to do it at a very specific time.
But you don't lose 2 life. So
Right. Yeah. This boast is an interesting mechanic. I'd like to see a little more like oomph on it. Like I'm interested in seeing something with a really strong boast ability that has evasion, like a flyer.
yeah.
This card seems kind of bad to me. It's just maybe it's good in like Commander or something, but in Standard, it's just not enough. I don't think. I mean, it has good types. It's a rogue.
I like that it's a rogue.
anything
That's
is possible.
basically the one reason I picked that one, because
But Rogues really doesn't want to spend 3 mana or 2 mana for that matter at sorcery speed.
no,
like,
but a
ever.
party member rogue would
Yeah. Right.
possibly be more
Yeah,
interested
so maybe
in that.
this is good party.
Yeah, so maybe it's the rogue that finds the rest of your party, and then people might not
Yeah.
want to block it because it has Death Touch. Who knows?
I think generally people get too excited about bad tutor effects, but that's what this is to me, is a bad tutor.
Anyway, we're going into Snow is coming back. So Snow has been around. It came in Ice Age and then Cold Snap, and then there was some Snow in Modern Horizons, and now it's here in Standard once again.
And it's actually interesting because the reason it took them so long to make a Norse mythology inspired set is because they felt like it would be too similar to those sets.
Interesting.
Ice Age and Cold Snap, which were Scandinavian inspired already.
Okay.
And so it just makes sense that Snow is coming back here. It's been a long time since we've had it in a standard legal set. It was in like a modern only set a couple of years ago, but
Yeah.
I never have really played with Snow myself, so I know people love it.
Yeah, so
But-
basically what Snow is, it just they make it so that all the lands are the lands in the set are all snow covered something. So snow covered
It's like a
plains.
super type, right?
Yeah, it's like a super type for your land. So all your lands tap for the color of mana that they tap for, but they also tap for snow, which is just like represented by like a snowflake symbol on certain cards. And that a lot of the cards depend on how many snow permanents you have. So a lot of the time people feel like it's just kind of a land deck because most of the time it's getting the most effect from all your snow lands, which will be interesting because, we had Zendikar just before this. So I wonder if there's going to be like a snow landfall type of thing going on.
Yeah, it reminds me of like artifact synergy stuff. Oh, this cares about how many artifacts you have. This cares about, and then you have artifact lands that
Yeah.
were so good they had to get banned. The nice thing is that it's not just going to grow with every set because most sets don't have snow permanents. So it's taking that idea of artifacts that care about other artifacts and cutting away the problem of this is going to get way too good as we print a good artifact in every set. After a couple of years, this mechanic is too good.
Totally. The one thing to say about snow is that a lot of people get upset because snowlands are considered just inherently better than basics that are not snow covered. So that
Well, aren't they basics though?
they are basics, but by not playing snow covered whatevers, you're giving information to your opponent that you don't have any cards that care about snow in them. And there's
Yeah, but I mean, like the rule that Wizard said is nothing is better than basic lands, strictly better, and these are basic lands.
yes.
So they're not better than basic lands because they
Oh,
are basic
okay.
lands.
All right, sorry. All right, my bad. So these are basic lands that are better than the other basic lands that we have.
Yeah, for the most part, snow-covered island is better than island, right?
Yeah.
Although the only time I've played snow permanents was in a Gifts Ungiven deck, which asks you to search for things of different names. And you wanted to be able to get an island and a snow-covered island in case you were missing them. So I would play like some snow-covered islands and some
Interesting.
islands.
Very cool. I mean, the only time I used snow is I had bought a Dimir snow deck in Cold Snap. because I was like, what is this? Then I opened it. I was like, what is happening? And I was so confused. But I thought it was pretty cool. There was like an owl that cared about your snow stuff. And I was like, this is kind of cool. But the best card in it was like a removal spell that just said destroy target non-snow creature. I was like, sick. This kills so much stuff.
Yeah, but when you're up against the snow deck, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. But I was just banking on none of my friends having any other snow cards. So
Right.
it ended up working out for me. Besides that, the other mechanics are basically the modal double face cards and sagas. So we've seen those. We know what those do. And they're great. But
Yeah, so let's move on maybe to some themes and archetypes we're starting
Yeah.
to see pop up. I think, we wanted to talk about what types of things might we see in Standard and Historic after this set released. Now, obviously, these aren't guarantees, and we're going to talk about stuff that this set brings. So I'm not going to talk about what card I think goes into the Sultai deck in Historic. Because where's the fun in that? So let's just talk about new stuff that this set is bringing.
New things.
And, of course, we're not all the way through previews, so we don't know what's going to be good, what's going to be bad. There's probably a bunch of themes that we haven't seen yet. Right?
Exactly. Or themes that seem like not supported, and then they'll show us all the cards later. And we'll be like, oh, okay, I gotcha.
Right. And Kaldheim's bringing a ton of new themes, right? It's got just so many different tribes, and it's got snow stuff like we were just talking about, and it's got this foretell mechanic and some sacrifice synergies going on. Like, it just has a ton. So
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I want to start with is the tribal aspect. So it's kind of a tribal set in the sense that there are tribal elements to it. Oh, we care about elves, or we care about giants, or we care about shapeshifters. But there are so many different tribes that it won't really feel like a tribal set in the standard sense, because each tribe will only have like 8 to 10 cards, right? Because there's 10 tribes plus the gods you could consider a different tribe. So there's just so many different creature types that they're focusing on that it won't really feel like a tribal set. It'll more feel like little pockets of tribal synergy.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have there's different tribes that are in each of the different realms, right?
Right, yeah. And then gods can be considered a tribe as well, kind of. Because that's a predominant creature type that's going to show up.
Yes.
So we're just going to talk about the tribes we're most excited about, but obviously there's, 10 of them, maybe 11 if you want to count gods.
So, Jeff, do you want to talk about your favorite one that we got right up here first?
I think I've already mentioned it, but I'm super excited for Golgari Elves. So this is the green-black realm is where the elves reside. And so let's just start with kind of the marquee card.
Yeah.
Tyvar Kell. It's 2 green for a planeswalker. Elves you control. It has a static ability. Elves you control have tap to add 1 black mana. +1 is put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target elf. Untap it against Death Touch until end of turn. 0, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. And the ultimate -6, you get an emblem with whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste until end of turn, and you draw 2 cards. So this is, coming out the gates pretty strong, right? It's really interesting that it lets elves tap for black, because the usual elf thing is they're all green, and you just want to play
and they just tap for
lots
green.
and lots of elves. So I really like that it makes them tap for black, and it's a double green card itself. And its other abilities just seem really good. 0 to create a elf warrior, and then +1, exactly what you want. But it doesn't get you like too much for 4 mana if you're not taking advantage of that static ability.
Totally. Yeah, I definitely agree. I also like that it does ramp you in just the way that it untaps one of your elves, which is kind of a fun way to be like, oh, I'll tap this for a black, I'll untap it, and it gets a +1/+1 counter, and then you can either tap it again or attack with that now that it has Death Touch.
So I was thinking about that first ability is too much about combat oriented, right? +1/+1 and Death Touch. That's not the best +1, especially since elves tend to be small.
Yes.
But then I realized, wait, it turns it into a mana dork and then untaps it, so you can tap it twice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good, like, you could play this, and if you have any elf in the same turn, you could play like a 2 mana removal spell, Heartless Act or something, as a +1, which seems pretty good. Yeah, I'm just super excited about elves. Black-green, as you know, is my favorite color combination.
It is.
And I've had fun with elves decks since I was a kid. I think it was the first deck I really built myself, and I just went off with elves gaining a ton of life, and like every elf cared about how many elves you had, and so it really tended to snowball. But I actually think that in this set, the spoilers so far, it seems like it's less about just snowballing with elves into a combo, which is what elves has traditionally been about, and more about kind of value-driven green-black cards.
Yeah.
Like if we look at Herald, King of Skemfar, it's a 1 black-green for a 3/2 elf warrior, legendary creature elf warrior with menace. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You can reveal an elf, warrior, or Tyvar card from among them and put it into your hand, and you put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So it's kind of just a 3/2 menace, like decent body, not great, but it picks you up a free elf card, basically. Or your Planeswalker that we just talked about.
Yeah, or it fits in your party deck and you find more warriors.
And it's a warrior, yeah. I really like how they did that too. There's a lot of each tribe seems to be a secondary type going on too, and so each card's almost double tribal.
Yeah, except for all of the berserkers that are around that we talked about earlier, saying they better not make a bunch of berserkers, and they did. There's a bunch of berserkers.
But they've made warriors too.
Yeah, so there's both. It's not just replacing warriors and there's berserkers. There are both warriors and berserkers, so that is kind of nice.
And then there's other stuff like Herald Unites the Elves, cool saga for the elf domain. And there was an elf lord that got previewed. Very cool stuff. So I'm excited. I don't know if the deck will come together necessarily because there aren't the best elves already in standard. So you don't have a lot to choose from, but I'm hoping there are enough good elves in this set and enough good changelings in this set. And then just enough good green and black cards from previous sets to bring everything together.
Yeah.
How about you? What tribe are you most excited about?
Well, as far as tribes go, you were just talking about changelings, right? So blue-green is kind of like a changeling. It looks like that's what they're kind of going towards, so they can be kind of anything. So we were talking earlier that kind of seems like having a tribe that touches blue or green seems like a really smart idea because there are going to be a ton of changelings that you just put in your deck that fit into those tribes already. So the Golgari elves already you're touching green. Boom, you have a bunch of elves plus all these changelings that are technically elves that you can use.
Right.
So the tribe that I was kind of looking towards that seemed most interesting to me was actually, is it giants? Partly because, giants are cool, but also because they touch blue, and blue is changeling, so we have a bunch more giants to go in with that. But the two, I don't normally like red cards. I don't know why I picked 2 red cards. They just seemed like the coolest things. But I wanted to show Calamity Bearer, which is 2 red for a 3/4 giant berserker. Berserker, great, awesome. Whatever, that's fine. And all it is if a giant source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. So it's another thing that just doubles up your damage for that. But mainly he just has these sweet molten bowling ball things in his hands.
Yeah. I require judge clarification on this card. I need to know if Stomp is a giant source.
Yes. See, that is one thing that comes up. Is Stomp a giant spell? Because it's...
I think it's not.
I think it's
not.
That
would be... This card would be freaking awesome if it was.
Because then you just start smashing. That would be dope.
But it's a flavor fail because the flavor is a giant stomping on you.
Yeah.
So this should double it.
Right? But I don't know. I guess not. It would have to say tribal sorcery, right? Giant on Stomp.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'd be just a random thing.
But hey, your Bone Crusher deals 8.
Yeah. So
or if you target Bone Crusher, it will deal 4.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, okay. I feel that. All right. The other one I just wanted to quickly bring up was Quakebringer. It's 3 red for a 5/4 giant berserker. It just says your opponents can't gain life. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, Quakebringer deals 2 damage to each opponent. And this ability triggers only if Quakebringer is on the battlefield or if Quakebringer is in your graveyard and you control a giant. Also, it has Foretell for 2 red.
Wow. That's a hell of a card.
That
I was so unimpressed reading the spoiler until it said, or if it's in your graveyard.
Yeah.
Oh no, that is good.
So it's okay, I killed this thing, that's fine. It's just going to keep going. You have to kill all my giants. And if my other giant is just this Calamity Bearer, I'm just dealing 4 to you. all the time.
Yeah, I just want to like mill this in red black
Yeah.
on turn 2 and just be paying them for 2 every turn.
Like, that's awesome. I am so down for this. There's a lot of other giants, like the Frost Giants are kind of, they're really interested in instants and sorceries, which is a classic Is It archetype. But I do like that they have this kind of thing in here. When I think giants, I don't initially think Is It. So it's kind of nice to have this like tribal Is It that isn't all instant sorcery stuff. It has this other thing going on.
Yeah, and the thing about the giants is there was already a bunch of totally solid giants printed in Throne of Eldraine.
Yeah.
Obviously, the headliner is Bone Crusher Giant, which is currently like the best card in Standard. But there's also other giants people already play, like Fertile Footsteps into Beanstalk Giant. That card. So, Naya or Jeskai or one of these giants, like tricolor could be really good because you have a lot of old stuff to build on, which was my issue with elves is like there's a few elves like Rada is an elf,
But it's like you're gonna play Jund
nothing
elves?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Rada.
All I want to do is play Jeskai Giants and have Realm Cloak Giant and just wipe the board and do all this crazy stuff. It sounds great to me. So that is my plan.
So those are the tribes we're excited about. We do have the tip of look for tribes that have either green or blue in them.
Yes.
Right?
Smart.
So that you have enough. Because, again, there's so many tribes that each individual tribe's going to be a bit short and might need the help of these shapeshifters. Or look for tribes that are building upon cards that are already good in Standard, like Giants. So Giants hits both of those notes, and so is one to look out for.
Exactly.
And there's a whole bunch of other archetypes we could talk about, too.
There are.
Like there's Foretell Control deck, we mentioned a little earlier. I think the red-black deck that's popped in and out of Standard is getting a lot of new tools.
It definitely is. So that'll be pretty sweet. I do like that the Tybalt that switches into or it could be the creature or the planeswalker. It's pretty sweet.
But we probably only have time to talk about one other archetype.
Yeah, and I think the one that we should talk about is probably the 5-color legendary one that we kind of
has to
hinted
be,
at
right? That's
before.
just, If this is a thing, that's awesome. But just the fact that it's, they're kind of hinting that this is a thing.
Yeah, it's like 5-color gods almost. It's pretty sweet.
Right.
Do you want to read the first card for us?
Yeah, so this is kind of I don't know if it's the emblematic card because there's also the World Tree, but this is kind of the card that first got me thinking about this. So this is Isika, God of the Tree. It's 1 green for a legendary creature god. It's a 1/4 with Vigilance. Taps to add 1 mana of any color, and other legendary creatures you control have Vigilance and add 1 mana of any color. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. So just on the face of it, that side, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it's just as a 1 green for something that taps any color and is a 1/4. 1/4 is pretty important because there's a lot of things that don't kill it. And it also turns any of your other, presumably you're in a legendary creature heavy deck with this, turns everything else into basically, tapping for any color.
I mean, if we were already excited that Tyvar, a 4 CMC card, would turn everything into a mana dork for black, this does it for 3, but everything's any color you want.
Yeah, the only concern is, like, will you have a 1 mana and 2 mana legendary creature
to help this
so
out.
that you could play this on turn 3 and then get mana right away?
And then play a 6/6.
Elves is more likely to do that than legendary creatures.
This is true. This is very true.
But that's not all. As you know, all gods in this set are double-faced. So the other side is the Prismatic Bridge. It's a legendary enchantment. It costs white, blue, black, red, green. Wooburg. And at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. Holy crap.
What?
Yeah, that is paying you off. If you go Isika, so the front face on turn 3, it doesn't seem that hard to play the Prismatic Bridge on turn 4, other than you need a second copy of this card to do it.
Yeah.
And then you're just revealing stuff for free, and you're in a legendary creatures deck, so they're all probably awesome.
And they just go straight onto the battlefield?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
I think this is pretty sweet. It's definitely worth trying to kind of play this deck because it seems pretty fun. Also, I know. I mean, now is this going to be good? Probably. Oh no! It actually in Historic we do have Reese the Redeemed, right? Which is a 1-mana legendary.
1 drop. Yeah.
It's begging to be built. Basically, what this card looks like is like, please build me.
If Wizards did things right, this deck is like competitive tier 2. Because I think it would be a nightmare if this is the best deck. If you had to see this happen every single game,
Yeah.
you just feel like
Imagine
it's way too
this card
powerful.
with Omnath, and you're like,
Yeah, exactly. That was so ridiculous.
that was supposed to go in this deck.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Absurd.
It's so nasty. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
And I feel like we got to read the World Tree. What's the World Tree?
okay. So the World Tree, lots of controversy over this card. It's a land, the World Tree, land.
Wait, you mean legendary land, right?
No. It's just land. It's just a land.
Oh,
It's the World Tree, but it's not legendary. Don't worry about it. It's
Oh.
fine. There's some stuff about it. It makes sense. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So it enters.
Did you just forget to put legendary on the card?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't forget. I just think, there's many mana bonds you could have to different places, and you can have multiple mana bonds to the World Tree. So technically, it doesn't have to be legendary. So. Yeah, anyway,
like
so
you
the
forgot.
World Tree enters the battlefield tapped. It taps for green. And then as long as you control 6 or more lands, lands you control have add 1 mana of any color. Okay, all right, seems fine. Then you can play 4. It has an activated ability. For white, blue, black, red, green, tap it, and sacrifice the World Tree. You can search your library for any number of God cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow. So it's door to nothingness, right? It's 2 of each color to win the game.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean, technically,
Yeah.
you could do it with no gods in your deck. And so
Then it wouldn't be. Is that what you're saying?
then it wouldn't
Wouldn't
be
win
door
you
to
the game.
nothingness, yeah.
Yeah, no, this card seems really cool. I like that it requires 6 lands in order to make things tap for any color.
Yep.
That seems pretty balanced. Mm-hmm. But we'll have to see. Like I said, if this deck is really, really good, if this is the top deck in the format, this thing is going to be a nightmare because it's just going to be a way to win the game for free.
Exactly.
In addition to them, if their primary game plan doesn't work out, they just have this, my land wins the game backup plan, which has never historically been bad. But it is 10 mana, 2 of each color. I think this in its own right isn't busted. But if the deck archetype itself is too strong, this thing could be kind of a nightmare because you can have 4 of them
Exactly.
in your decks.
And on the battlefield at the same time.
Yeah.
I know we were kind of joking about that now being legendary. Gavin Verhey did put out a video on Monday of this week, just kind of explaining why they did that, and it is worth checking out. So I'll put it in the show notes just to listen to him. He didn't make the card, but he explains why they had that conversation and wouldn't have done that. It doesn't.
I'm not buying it.
It doesn't make me feel like totally better, but it did show some examples of like, hey, remember this thing? That wasn't legendary either. Or remember this thing? And just kind of. So that was kind of nice, and it made me feel a little bit better, like they were actually having this conversation and talking about it, and knowing that they wanted to make sure that if you didn't draw 3 of these in your opening hand, you just can't. You have 1 land in your hand.
Just don't put 4 in your deck. I think that they did have the conversation. I believe them on that. I think they came to the wrong conclusion. This thing has to be legendary. It's the World Tree. It's a world where this thing is the center of their universe that connects 10 different realms. How is there more than one of these things?
Because it's just your mana bond with the World Tree. It is not the physical World Tree.
Then why can't I have 10?
One for each realm.
Yeah, so I also always hated that Valakut wasn't legendary, stuff like that. So a lot of these examples they're pointing to is like, yeah, but I thought you were wrong there too. So
They made sure not to point to that one. They pointed at
because
some
nobody
other stuff.
agrees with them on that one.
Yeah.
That one they did just forget, I think.
Usually they put it on like colorless lands. Is most of the time that most of the examples they had were just like Inventors Fair or
Yeah, but an
Thespian
Inventors
Stage.
Fair is not a unique event. Like, neither is a Thespian Stage.
So,
Anyways.
and it definitely is more of a. They're focusing on the game aspect and not the flavor aspect as far as that goes.
Yeah, I get that.
There's a lot of people that are mainly mad about the flavor, and I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if it's busted. If it's not busted, then I'm like, yeah, try as hard as you can to get there. But if it was busted, then everyone's gonna be upset. But that happens no matter what. So what are you gonna do?
I don't think this card is busted, but
No.
if the deck is too good and they're allowed to play 4 of this backup plan card, then that would be annoying.
Oh, my beer is done. I need another beer.
All right.
Let's
Let's take a beer break.
let's do that. Alrighty, Jeff, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking 8 Man by McKinnon Brothers.
8 Man. How many mans is that?
I think it's a rowing thing.
Oh, really? There's a
Like,
rugby dude on the front. Are there 8
Oh.
dudes in rugby?
You're right. I think it's rugby. Sorry, the can is facing the wrong way.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it's got to be something to do with rugby.
Totally.
But it's an English-style pale ale.
Yeah. It's Metalhead. That's nice. Oh, yeah. Okay, it has like an Easter Island kind of dude looking almost. Easter Egg Island. What is it? Easter Egg Head Island?
I actually don't know what you're talking about, but...
Those statues in like South America?
yeah.
It's like
I
kind
mean,
of
like the Mayan Incans
yeah,
statue.
but they're like the Easter egg. No, Easter head. I don't know.
But he has like a mohawk.
Anyway, great double IPA, tasty.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. So we're going into the Kaldheim League Weekend #1 fantasy draft. Here we go. Jeff, what are we doing? What are fantasy drafts? What's a league weekend? What's going on?
Man, that's a lot of questions, Zach, but I'm happy to tackle them. So
All
the
of
first
them.
thing, what is a league weekend? So the league weekends are basically how pro Magic play works. There's league weekends and then big tournaments called championships. And so it's split into 3 seasons. And we're in the 2nd season now, the Kaldheim season. We just
starting
completed
to split.
Zendikar Rising.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So there will be 2 Kaldheim League weekends in the Kaldheim season. And basically what it is every player in the professional league, so that's the MPL, Magic Pro League, and the Rivals League, will, over the course of the season, will play every other player. Right? But in this weekend, the MPL players will play half of their opponents.
Yeah.
And the Rivals players will play like a quarter.
Because there are 24 people in the MPL and there are 48 people in the Rivals League. So, there were 46.
46.
Crap. There are 46 people in the Rivals League because Emma Handy
Right.
and Jessica Estevan are no
It's a
longer
recent
in it.
change. It's understandable. But yeah, so they'll play, I think, 12 matches. Is that correct? This weekend?
Yeah, I think it's 12. Yeah, and for this league weekend, the other ones were standard, but this one is historic. So,
Right.
big difference.
Now, I know you're excited about all those Kaldheim cards we're talking about. You want to see them in the Kaldheim League weekend.
Yeah, because
Zach, what kind of cards will they get to see?
What's better than, seeing new cards and then seeing pros play new cards? It's
Right.
better pros playing the same cards they've been playing because Kaldheim
Same old stuff.
Yeah, hasn't been released yet. So it is the Kaldheim League weekend, but there are no Kaldheim cards in the tournament. So
It's kind of like a send-off, I suppose, to the previous format.
Kind of.
Before Kaldheim gets released.
it just feels weird that it's called Kaldheim League weekend. A little strange.
Yeah.
I got a little
Yeah.
confused. Definitely thought the set was coming out closer to now because we had that information
Yeah.
about this league weekend first, but
Right.
it's all good.
I kind of get it, right? They don't want to shake up the format like right before. They can't release it 2 days before the...
Yeah, imagine that. Oh, by the way, you have no time to practice. Here you go. What's your deck
Yeah,
list?
exactly.
Before the cards come out, what's your deck list?
As fun as that would be for us
It would
to
be.
see what they come up with.
I mean, if that was an extra thing they did like in the off season, that sounds great to me, right?
Yeah.
Though I guess
But when people's, careers are staked on it.
yeah,
probably
not so
don't wanna do
great.
that.
Not the best. Anyway, so with this, basically on Saturday and Sunday, they do a bunch of, all their different games that are going to be happening. And usually on Saturday, they show Rivals, and Sunday, they show the MPL. And because of this, me and Jeff like to have our own fantasy league for this. So right now we started in the second league weekend for Zendikar Rising, which Jeff won somehow.
Hey.
And then I won the Zendikar Rising Championship League draft.
Lucky. I mean, I had to let him win one, or it would just be too dominant to start.
Except for I just like smoked you. Whatever.
Yeah.
So right now it's 1-1. And Jeff, what does the winner get at the end of all of this?
The winner gets a weird 2/4. I'm assuming everyone knows what a 2/4 is.
I have no idea
for
what
those
that
of
is.
you.
What is that?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, a 2/4 is sort of Canadian slang for a 24 pack of beer, 24 case. And so by weird, I mean that the loser is going to like make a curated 24 beer selection of stuff that, well, let's leave it up to them. You know, they could pick something that they think the winner would hate, or something that they think the winner would love, or a beautiful blend of both.
Yeah, I'm thinking all macro brews, anything that tastes like...
You're just going to get me a case of like Molson Canadian.
No. I'm going to make you a case of Molson Canadian-ish with a bunch of other... It's like Budweiser, Bud Light, then you have like the low-calorie one, there's the gluten-free one, there's the non-alcoholic one, and then there's... For all of
No
the
duplicates,
no
but
duplicates,
all Molson.
but all garbage. It's the bronze package.
All bronze tier.
Yeah, it's what it is.
The bronze package, exactly.
That is my plan. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that to you. That's terrible. So basically how this works for us is that we pick 3 MPL players. Actually, sorry, before I do this, we have changed our rules a little bit, slightly.
For our long-term listeners here know that.
Yeah, so the scoring system before, we've changed it a little bit because we feel like it's not perfect yet, and we want to keep pushing to excellence.
Right, like Zach somehow won the second fight, so there must
So
be something
obviously
wrong with
the score, oh, for sure. Anyway, so we've decided we will pick 3 MPL players, 4 Rivals players, and then you get points for the highest meta and the top performance, but we're changing that. So basically, you get 1 point per win for each MPL or Rivals win that they get for your players. You get 2 points if you guess the correct highest meta, and then 2 points if you beat the other person's highest meta. And then you get 2 points for having picked the top performing deck, and 2 more points if you beat that person's guess for highest performing deck. So basically, we just changed it from 1 point to 2 point for those, so those matter more, and added an extra Rivals member to kind of balance it out a little bit. So you could win in different categories.
Because the Rivals is such a big league, we kept having players we really wanted to pick, but couldn't because we only got 3 choices.
Yeah, because there's so many. There's twice as many, and we're like, well, we can't do twice as many Rivals, but we'll just add 1 and see where that is, and maybe we'll change it up next time. It's our game, so we can do whatever we want. But we do encourage you to play at home and see if you can beat us.
Pick your own personal dream team there and see if you can get more points than we did.
Yeah, because you probably can. In all honesty, you can. But with that, Jeff, I think it's time for the coin toss.
The Toonie toss?
The Toonie toss. Oh, man, that's so good. Well, we got to keep remembering that. All right, so you call it in the air, and then I will change it to whatever I want because I'm on a computer.
Yeah, I mean, you're on Zoom. You could easily do that.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so ready for it? Here we go.
Yeah. Tails.
It is tails. Whoa. Wow, is that the first time
Tails never fails, except the other 2 times.
Wait, real quick. It's the polar bear, right? That's tails. Because polar bears have tails. Okay, cool.
I think they have a really little tail there.
Little stubby one. All right.
The queen does not have a tail.
I actually cannot say that with certainty. Anyway, so Jeff, would you like to pick the first MPL player or defer?
I will be deferring the pick.
Oh my gosh. Wow. We really? Wow, this is crazy. We keep doing that. Is it really worth it that much? Oh, man.
I thought about this a lot, what happens if I win the flip, and it was a close call, I think, because both leagues have 2 excellent players that are at the top of the standings right now who are having great seasons. I decided I want the Rivals pick.
Okay. All right, well, you gave me just enough information that I know I have to pick arguably the best player in Magic, probably. He was best player 2 years in a row, I'm fairly certain. And he has a new YouTube channel that is Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa. Come on down.
Falling right into my trap. I expected that pick.
Do you know what your next pick is?
Of course I know.
Let me clickety-clackety.
Somebody who has been an absolute master recently. A French Hall of Famer. I mean, who else could I pick other than Gabriel Massy?
This is so funny that I said we picked the person that we're guessing is going to win the whole thing. The other person's vote for it. That's hilarious. Man, these are so predictable now. We just know. It is hard because I want to pick different people, but I know if I do that, you're just going to pick all the ones that are going to get the most.
But we're at it's different than when we started because we're at a point now where the league standings are a little more meaningful. It's literally reflective of how well people have been doing recently.
Exactly, as opposed to the beginning. So with that, I think my next pick will be someone who has 5 GP top 8s and is a 2-time GP winner and winner of the Spark Split division from last year. This person's from Japan, Rei Sato.
Nice pick. I mean, he's the one that I've been curious. I don't think either of us have picked him yet.
Exactly. And I thought, it's just time. It's time to pick Rei.
You know what? I hate to just be the Team France guy, but I think this is the way I had to go.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is a Magic World Cup winner, 2018 for Team France, and he's gone to the World Championship, done well at Mythic Championships. He's done well at every level. He's kind of a bit of an up-and-comer relative to a lot of the people in this league, but I'm choosing Jean-Emmanuel Depraz.
Okay, all right. That is actually one of the ones I was debating over for a while, actually, and then changed my mind.
Every time I've watched him, I've just been really impressed.
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to choose him, but there's so many great players and so few choices.
Exactly.
This is the first time I'm actually getting around to it.
Yeah, I wonder. We'll tweak things. Maybe we should just add more players all together and just have bigger teams.
We each just choose half the league
each time. Cool. Well, my next pick and my last pick for the MPO players.
Don't snake me like you did in fantasy hockey.
I think this is gonna snake you. Just kidding. It will not. With 5 GP top 8s and 4 top finishes, this is the winner of the Mythic Championship number 6 from the Czech Republic, Andrej Strasky.
I was actually going to take Strasky.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Wait, that's...
Okay. It's okay. I have a plan. So this is somebody it's also unbelievable I haven't picked this person yet, as I'm a huge, huge fan. Pro Tour Hall of Famer, 23 GP top 8s, and just all around great guy, like someone you want to emulate as a Magic player. I'm going to be putting Reed Duke on my team.
Yep, great player. Great player. I thought you were going to take Mengucci.
Well, I'm trying to diversify my picks a little bit.
Totally. I guess I've just been...
Obviously, Mengucci was my top performer last time.
So I actually had him on my list. I started following him on all my social media platforms, and he is just so fun and funny.
He's super fun to follow, and he's always posting pictures of this awesome looking Italian meal.
It's always just pasta meals and decks. That's basically the whole thing. It's awesome. I'm like, this.
I know, it's my 2 favorite things.
He's such a chill dude too. Anyway, so you get to pick.
If you ever get the chance to catch his stream, he's really funny. The only problem is because of the time zones. It's really early morning for us.
Or really late at night, right? I heard that he.
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 a.m. start time.
Oh, really? I was hearing that he did some that was kind of maybe midnight or 1, and he would start at then.
That'd be cool, because I would actually be able to catch the start of that. Yeah. I've been normally getting the tail end of his stream at 8.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems great. He seems super awesome. So great. But with the Rivals League members, Jeff, you get to start us off. Take him away.
Yeah, I mean, this man deserves. There is no introduction that can do him justice.
No,
he's just one of the best players in the game, and widely considered to be one of the best players of all time. I'm choosing Luis Scott Vargas as my first Rivals League selection.
Yep, there he goes. One of the resources Not only limited, but constructed and different, lots of different things.
His skills are both limited and constructed.
Hey, just like us. We're him. We're the same.
His skills are less limited than ours, but
Yeah. So this player has 3 PT top 8s and is a GP winner and a finalist at Mythic Championship number 2. This person's from San Francisco, California, in the United States of America. Matt Sperling.
yeah, great pick. That's what I mean, right? Like, he's also doing extremely well.
Yeah.
So there's just kind of 2 players a little bit ahead of the pack in both leagues.
So you just do yourself a disservice if you don't pick them, because then the other player's just going to pick them, and then you have no running backs on your team. Or, sorry, you have no centers on your team.
Yeah, and it's not like we've had a ton of sample size. I do think some of the lower seeded players are going to be sort of more incentivized to really come out and kick ass. And
Exactly. Because this is really the high time. They need to start going. Especially some of those MPO players that are like, I need to stay in the MPL, man. I'm trying to make sure I don't, fall out of this. But what's your next Rivals pick?
Okay, so my next Rivals pick, I actually don't know too much about them because they don't have a profile up on the website, so I don't know their career list. But in preparation for this, I kind of browsed around on Twitter, and everything I found was just talking about how incredible of a player this is, and he's having a great season, tied for 4th place currently, Japanese pro player, Shintaro Ishimura.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I see you. I see this. Okay, cool. I feel like my Rivals players are a little all over the place, possibly.
But that's what's cool about the Rivals League picks,
Yeah.
right? Like, there's so many interesting people because it's twice as big as the other league.
Yeah, so it's like really hard. And there's a lot to do, but I think this is, let's go here. Okay. This person has 5 GP wins and is a player who was once in the MPL and is looking to get their way back there. Not only the combo master himself, but someone who has beaten me. So that, big props to that, because they had to defeat the wrath that I am. This person's from the US of A, Matt Nass.
Very nice.
I just wanted to make my team Matt, is what my plan was.
It's actually funny that you picked him, because my next pick is also somebody that I've had the pleasure of losing to.
Ooh.
It's somebody I've lost to in a Star City Games competitive event. It was a close match, though. I want to give myself props for that, but I did lose. This person has 2 GP wins, multiple GP top 8s, top finish at Mythic Champion 6, and just a ton of success for multiple years at the Star City Games circuit. I'm going to choose Eli Cassis.
Oh.
Yeah, we were playing Teamer Adventures Mirror Match back when Teamer Adventures was a good standard deck. And I ran away with game 1 because his draw was terrible. We had an insanely close game 2 that I'm pretty sure he just played better than me and beat me. And then game 3, he just steamrolled me. So
Nice. Very nice. Okay, here we go. So this person has top 8'd both a GP and a Pro Tour. This is a fantastic streamer and an even better player. The Mythic Meebo herself from the USA.
No! I was
Allie
gonna take
Warfield. Yeah, buddy!
How are you going to snake me again, man?
I was debating.
I was literally like, he's not going to take Allie Warfield. There's no way.
I was debating. I was like, I'm going to pick her last. And I was like, wait, I need to pick her not last because I have a weird feeling that I'm not going to get her.
I was watching her stream earlier this week, and she's playing a lot of Historic, and she likes black-green mid-range decks.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
Like,
and she's been playing
with
Historic a lot recently and streaming it. And she started writing articles about Historic for, I think, Card Kingdom. So,
oh, man, I thought that was a sure thing.
So now that's like, I also thought it was a sure thing. So, man, 2 drafts in a row. 2 drafts. Making you sweat. This is great.
I did not expect this. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to select, to counteract your previous snipe, I'm going to select another player from the Czech Republic.
Okay.
And this player is somebody who's basically just proven to me over the years that they're a master of strategy games. Because whenever a new card game came out, like the Dota 1 artifact, this guy was immediately the best player of that game. Or a different, when Hearthstone came out, they went and made a career in Hearthstone before coming back to Magic. So they've just proven that it doesn't matter what the game rules are, they're going to beat you at it. I'm going to choose Stanislav Sivka.
Okay. That's a good choice. That's solid. I
think he might be working on a team with Andre Strasky. Maybe? I know Ivan Flock works with Andre. So, but I think they often have similar deck lists, so I wonder if I can counterbalance your Strasky pick a little bit if the team does well or...
The whole team does well. I get you. All right, so with my last pick, I'm just trying to meet new people, get out there, feel around. After getting 6th place at the Pro Tour Ixalan, this player was added to the Magic Pro League, only to be moved to the Rivals League later that year. So, looking to fight their way back in, from Germany, Christian Hock.
Good pick. Man, I thought my 4th pick would be Ali Warfield for sure, and I'd be,
Wow, I'm really, they were both, I was like, I can definitely wait until last. And I was like, I really want to make sure that I get her. Because I've also been watching her stream recently, so it's been pretty fun. I think she's great, so hopefully she really just, is on fire. She's going to probably play some sack deck, so.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fine because, well, I won't give away too much what I think about the meta percentage.
I mean, we're kind of moving right into that, so let's just go straight in, I think. Right?
So I pick, right?
You, it doesn't really matter. I already picked what...
We haven't really been too firm.
I'm not gonna change what I picked, but though I do have a question mark in my mind because I'm like, I really don't know. I feel like I
haven't played Historic since I had the disappointing Historic event.
Yeah.
Or 2 in a row, kind of. Like, I was just kind of burnt out on it. I'm excited to watch it now. Hopefully it's changed a bit.
I'm really excited to see them play it.
Right, yeah.
So...
I'm just going to say that Sultai is going to be
That's
my meta percentage.
I was saying that too, yeah. I just feel like they're going to bring it. I don't know if it's the right choice, but I feel like when I think Historic, most of the time I just think that deck. I don't know. I just feel like we're going to see a lot of it again, like we always do. I actually started playing Sultai just so I could get it a little bit better, and I'm not great at it. Go figure. It's harder to play than I thought, but yeah, I'm expecting to see most of the players bring Sultai. So
yeah.
Maybe I guess I should go. Am I going into top performance, or are we talking about this a little bit longer?
I mean, there's not too much more to say about metagame percentage. I think the wild card for me is how many, because it's such a small event.
Yeah.
How many people are going to bring the Paradox Engine combo deck, right?
I don't know. So I have Matt Nass because I kind of I don't know if he's going to bring it or not. But I haven't seen it as much on the ladder as I did before, right after the Arena Open.
Yeah, it's definitely a deck that is really hard to play, though. So if you're just kind of a random Joe Schmo like us on the ladder, it's not necessarily worth picking.
I mean, there's a bunch of people I think just like it because it's a cool deck, and also wish boards are pretty fun. But as far as top performance goes, I'm kind of tied between, there's like 2 that I'm really looking at, and I just don't really know what I want to do. It's so hard. To me, it's either Junsak or Rakdos Arcanist. And I think it's hard because I play Auras, right? So Auras gets really screwed by one of these decks, but not the other one. And I know that's just not accurate. So I have this weird thing where I don't want to pick Rakdos because of what happened the first time where nobody brought the deck. But it has been winning SCG tournaments. I'm gonna go Junsak. That's what I think we'll do it.
What's interesting is I came in I'm either gonna pick Rakdos Arcanist or Sultai.
Yeah.
So since you picked Junsak, let's be more fun, and I'll pick. If you picked Rakdos Arcanist, I would have just picked Sultai, I think. But so that we're not the same in both categories. But since you didn't, I'll pick Rakdos Arcanist.
Okay.
I actually do think it's a possibility that nobody brings it, because stuff that is good at the Star City Games event level is not necessarily good enough at the MPL level.
Of course.
I do kind of think Sultai is just the best deck, and it's so good that even though people know it's the best deck, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I think Rakdos Arcanist is decent against Sultai. And still has a good enough game against everything else.
I mean, you get to Thoughtseize like, a bunch. So 8 times, essentially. So, yeah, it's I think it's a good deck. But I just feel like Allie's going to play... She's going to want to have some casualties of Warfield, essentially.
Nice.
And play some Jund. Or some,
but that's why I'm asking about how many people are going to bring the combo deck. Did you just apologize for your pun? That's okay.
Mm-hmm. I would never apologize for that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
You know I love it. Yeah, but if the combo deck is really prevalent, then Jund Sack's going to have a hard time.
Totally.
That's why I was asking about the combo
I just feel like it's not going to show up that much. I don't think that many...
I think maybe 2 people will.
Yeah, I think 2 people are going to bring it. But that's not enough to get top performance, as we've decided, right? Right? We've decided that...
No, but it will... Like, if your Jund Sack player has to play against the combo deck, I think that deck... That's a really bad matchup for Jund.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
So it's like, the more people that bring the combo deck, even if it's not going to be the most dominant deck itself, it's really going to hurt Jund's
performance. I get that.
Whereas Rakdos, I think, is good against or fine against the combo deck because it just has so many Thoughtseizes.
And it just pulls all the pieces. Yeah, I think it makes sense. But running it back, I'm going to read off my team so everyone remembers. So I got...
All right, let's hear it.
PVDDR, Ray Sato, Andre Strosky, Matt Sperling, Matt Nass, Ali Warfield, Christian Hawk, Sultai Midrange, and Jund Sack. That's what my team looks like.
Sounds like a good team.
Yeah.
I got Gabriel Nassif, Jean-Emmanuel Deprat, Reed Duke, LSV, Shintaro Ishimura, Eli Cassis, Stanislav Sivka, Sultai, and Rakdos Arcanist.
Yeah. This is going to be great. I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this.
I'm really hoping to be wrong about Sultai being best, like most popular and most dominant, but...
That would be great, actually. It would... Well, okay. It would be great because that means Uro's not going to get banned before September. But if it does have the most people playing it and it wins the most, then that means that Uro probably has a higher chance of getting banned before September.
Right.
So...
I don't like how you wrote Sultai mid-range, too. It's not a mid-range deck.
Okay. Well, that's what they call it.
That's why I wrote Sultai. I know that, but you can... it's not how we do it over here.
It's how I do it.
We need to give me a segment where I just, like, rant about stuff, about how people hate mid-range now because of this deck, and it's like, it's just a ramp deck.
Yeah, isn't...
It's not a mid-range deck at all.
I thought that was just the whole podcast, though, right? It's just...
Yeah, just me complaining.
No, us not complaining, but specifically explaining why certain things shouldn't be the way that they are.
Right. Then we'll do a whole episode on what mid-range is, but it's not ramping up to Hydroid Crisis.
I mean, but you could play... Well, whatever.
Mid-range changes its game plan based on what it's playing,
Yes.
and I don't think this deck fits that bill.
It does the same thing every game. Okay, that makes sense. I do agree on that. But yeah, Jeff.
All right, great draft. I'm excited.
Feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we...
I feel good, too.
We're kind of chugging along. I feel like we kind of are ready for another beer. I don't know if you are, but I feel like I am. So...
Yep, me too.
Let's do that. Jeff, are you ready to reveal what your beer is? Should we just do it on 3 again? I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let me get it at 1, 2, 3. Huh. Yeah,
hey!
That's what I thought. Okay. We both picked Nickelbrook, the Metalhead. It's good.
Double IPA.
The double
It is
IPA.
good, yeah.
It's good. Yeah, I was actually pretty disappointed with the 8-man.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan McKinnon, come on. Your brother's got to make a better beer. I think that's the...
I don't know if he is one of the McKinnon brothers, but...
He's a McKinnon brother.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I don't know
if he has any siblings.
I have no idea if he has any siblings.
I don't know either.
Like, oh, you don't? Really? Wow. Are you a hockey fan?
I just know that he's started in the Timbits. Because Tim Hortons has mentioned that to me several times. So.
Yeah. So let's get to it. Let's get cracking. Let's start with the beer that we chose, probably. Nickelbrook Metalhead Double IPA. Jeff, how do you feel about this beer? You brought it. Where does it go on the scale?
Yeah, I brought it. I've never tried it before tonight.
Same.
And we were kind of talking about it a little bit during the beer break. Nickelbrook, most of their standard kind of stock beers like Cause and Effect, Naughty Neighbor, we're actually not the biggest fan of, but usually their special releases end up being pretty good.
Yeah.
And I consider this one of them. It's a double IPA, kind of has a bit of fruitiness going on, but not too much. But it's one of those beers that's 9%, but doesn't really taste like it. So it's actually a bit dangerous.
Yeah, I think it's pretty dangerous. Also, the thing is, like, I'm not the biggest fan of, like, super hoppy, in your face, like, bitter beers. And usually double IPAs tend to be actually not as intense on the hoppy side. They're just, the mouthfeel is very visceral.
Right.
And, like, obviously the alcohol is higher, but this one will sneak up on you, and it is just real tasty. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, things that throws most people off is that the stronger beers are actually usually less hoppy. Even though people associate hops with beers that are a bit stronger, once you go past into the next range of even stronger, they're actually less hoppy because the alcohol balances the
Exactly.
the hops.
Yeah, because if this was like 7%, you'd probably taste it a lot more. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know, Jeff. I'm leaning towards Diamond with this. I would like.
I was thinking the same thing, actually.
I think I would probably pick it up again. I give it some extra juice because the 9%. You know, I always like something a little bit more intense, especially if you're getting something special. Like we'll get this one. So
I will say I can really taste the Citra hops in this. And sometimes I call Citra hops the cheater hops because it's like it just tastes so good that it's hard to, if you use a lot of Citra, it's hard to make the beer not good.
yeah,
But hey, why not use it?
yeah, I think it's great. I really like it. But how about the McKinnon Brothers 8-man English Pale Ale?
Yeah, so I haven't, like, I want to say relationship. It's not really a relationship. I was going to say I have an interesting relationship with McKinnon Brothers. Just in the fact that I went to school in a city called Kingston. McKinnon Brothers, they own a farm very, very close to there. And so in Kingston, there's a lot of McKinnon Brothers stuff. And I've also heard stories about them where, like, my mom went to a craft beer festival to try some of the local craft beers. And she went to all these different places, and the people giving her the beer knew nothing about the beer and were really rude. But then when she went to the McKinnon Brothers kind of tent, it was actually one of the McKinnon Brothers that was there. And he was really excited to talk about what they did in this beer and what they did in that one and have her keep trying all these different things. So she really like there's a lot of reasons to really like the McKinnon Brothers as a brewery.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a beer from them that I really, really loved, unfortunately. It's like that weird dichotomy where I want to really like this brewery. I have all these social reasons to love it.
Yeah.
But
But the beer is just
don't love any of their beers that I've tried. I've only tried a couple, to be fair, but I just don't love them.
Yeah. And, you know, I've never heard of them before. I just kind of picked this up. And I agree. I do like the aesthetics of the actual can, but as far as the beer went, it was very underwhelming. It wasn't even like, I'm not always the biggest fan of like English pale ales because sometimes it just has like there's something with the malts or something. I'm not exactly sure what it is that usually is not, it's a characteristic of that beer that I'm slowly finding that I like a little bit better. But this one didn't really have that characteristic at all, but also not a lot of other things going on. It felt just a little flat to me.
Yeah, I'd say a little flat is kind of how I felt about it. And I like English pale ales. Like you're saying, English basically means it's supposed to be a little heavier on the malt and less hoppy. So you should be tasting more of the body and less of the topping.
Totally.
But they have another one that's a red ale. It's called Red Fox. And I want to love that beer because I love ambers. and I want to like McKinnon Brothers. And I just don't like that beer very much. I think it just falls, like you're saying, falls flat. It's kind of the perfect
It's
word.
just like...
So I get excited by it every time. I'm like, a brewery I really want to support and a beer style I really want to support. But I just don't like this beer, unfortunately.
I would have no problem drinking it if it was just around, but I'll probably never... well, from your story, I'll definitely go check it out if I'm ever around. I definitely want to meet those people because they seem great. And that's exactly the kind of... brewery environment I want to be around, and that's just wonderful, and we should support more people like that. But it is hard at the same time. We're like, you seem so great, but like I wish your product was just like there's something more, and it's me. And I want to be nice to you because you're so nice to me, but I want you to also know that you would be so much better if something was different. So don't keep doing what you're... I don't know.
It's like whatever they're looking for in a beer is not quite the same as what I'm looking for in a beer. And that's
what I'm looking for in a brewer, as far as a person goes, is what they're giving off. So it's kind of awkward. I don't know. I don't want to. So with that, it is difficult. But as far as the beer,
to be fair, I don't think it's terrible. But I think this is like a gold.
It's for sure a gold. Like gold, and I probably won't remember it. A year from now, if you ask me, hey, have you tried this? I'll be like, no. Even though we did it on the podcast, so that's kind of a bummer. But glad to hear that there's some good family business. I do like family business that runs.
Yeah, and everything I've heard being in Kingston, like of people who had to deal with them personally, said similar things. Yeah.
So that's good. All right. Well, we got a diamond and a gold. I'm bringing in some strong ones. Some good old. Whatever, it's fine. Got to lose sometimes, right? I'm gonna win this league weekend draft, so I feel.
Yeah, we'll see.
Before we kind of close up the podcast here, I did want to quickly just jump back to one of the cards from the new set that we got spoiled, which is pretty exciting to me. We have Vorinclex Monstrous Raider. So if you haven't seen this, it got leaked a little bit, but it was spoiled at the end of the announcement video. So it's 4 green for 6/6 Trample Haster, and I'm not going to read all of it, but basically it makes your counters have twice as many counters and your opponent's counters half as many counters.
So it's like +1/+1 counters.
Yeah, any sort of
not counter spells.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So it's like +1/+1 counters, ability counters, which don't matter. Loyalty counters, things like that.
Well, it matters because your opponent can't get ability counters, basically.
Yes, but you can't get double. You get double loyalty, or sorry, ability counters, but it doesn't really matter.
Double flying.
Anyway, the big reason it's important, and not the card itself, I think is fine. It is what it is, and I'm not really worried about it being too overpowered or anything. But number one, I like Phyrexian stuff, and the Praetors are pretty freaking cool, and I really like them. Specifically Vorinclex, because I have one that I really like that nobody likes.
I'm waiting for Ilash Norn. So.
Yeah. As soon as that happens, Ilash Norn's pretty bonkers most of the time.
Shieldred.
Yeah. Oh, Shieldred's great. Actually, I have that one too. Oh, I love the Praetors. They're so good, except for the red one. It's terrible, but hopefully Eurobrass gets a little bump up. But basically, there is a Phyrexian on Kaldheim, which is nuts, kind of, because what are they doing there?
Right. I think it's not telling us much about this set, but future sets.
Yeah, so this is the rumor. Okay, so I don't think that we're going to get the other Praetors spoiled in this set specifically. I think we're actually going to get one of each of the Praetors spoiled in one of the each sets after this. So we're going to get one of the Praetors in Strixhaven, one of the Praetors in Forgotten Realms, and then one of the Praetors in the Innistrad Vampires.
The other two in Innistrad.
Yeah, maybe Vampires, and then another one in Werewolves. And then we're going to go back to New Phyrexia in the new year. So if you liked New Phyrexia, possibly that might be a thing that happens. But also, like we were saying before, don't get too excited for a set that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
You have no idea. We have no idea. But it would be
fun.
Plus,
it's likely to be an artifact set, which are traditionally busted.
Which I'm so for, as you know. Give me that busted crap, and then I'll bust it, and then give me the wild cards. Because anything I can do to get a wild cards. Sorry, I said
full of Omnaths with no color restrictions.
That's what they do. But I do like this. I mean, obviously they did this with the Eldrazi back in Battle for Zendikar. I think it's cool bringing things that are from that one isn't specifically from somewhere else, but like a character that we know, and then having one of each of them in separate sets is kind of fun to me. Where like this is the set where this one came out, and this is the set where this one came out. I like that build up. It's quite nice. Instead of going
Plus, I think
straight
like the
there.
Phyrexians are just cooler story wise than the Eldrazi. Instead of like, I don't know, these are aliens from another realm. There's actually a bit of history and backstory. And,
exactly. And they've also been around forever,
motivation.
which is the other thing. Like, I grew up and Phyrexians were already around while I saw that Eldrazi were a thing. Also, the Eldrazi are just big, dumb fucking things. I don't know.
Nah, yeah.
The Phyrexians, like, I really don't like Eldrazi.
But you're right. I there is a nostalgia factor because I grew up on the Phyrexians as being the big bad.
Like Invasion had come out before I started playing, so I would look back. And before that even. I don't know. It's just been around forever, so I really like that, and I'm excited to go back to that whenever we do that. But I think that is our last call, really. Yeah. So this is the end. Ha 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 ha.
Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yes. Oh, the amount of times when I was closing my bar that I worked at in San Francisco, and that was the song I would close with. It was fantastic. And the amount of people who didn't get the hint was also remarkable. That you just
like I'm literally just telling you, it's just in song form.
It's been on repeat for 10, 15 minutes. How do you not know that you have to? It's closing
Turning
time.
up the lights is usually a hint too.
I try that. It doesn't work. Sweeping around them also doesn't work. You have to go up to them because they're drunk. You have to go up to them and be like,
"Get out,
go!" And they're like, "Oh, sorry, man." I was like, "The lights are on. I'm sweeping around you. No one's here."
This song's been on repeat for an hour.
How did you? I was trying to be as subtle as possible and be really nice about it, but like, go away. Anyway. We're ending the show now. If you want to reach us and talk about how much you love closing time, you can reach us at Arena Regulars on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, and hey, maybe you might run into us on MTG Arena itself. Look out for us, username Arena Regulars Podcast.
Yes, and we'd also love any reviews you could give us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, anything. You can find us. Please follow us or give us, 5 stars or whatever you think is appropriate, which is 5 stars probably. That would be great. We also have a YouTube channel that we're starting to put all of our episodes on, so go check that out if you feel like it. And yeah, I think that's the end of this episode. We will see you next week for the results of our fantasy draft.
Spoiler, I'm gonna win.
I'm pretty sure you're not. All right, that's fine.